Hey guys, I've been playing with the MySims Cosy Bundle for a while now, and I wanted to give you guys my honest review and take on the game. The MySims Cosy Bundle comes with two Wii games that have been ported to the Switch, being MySims and MySims Kingdom. So they're not new games, they're re-releases of old games. This game bundle is not a remake, nor is it a remaster really. It's just a re-release, like a port, but with HD upscaling. I will say from the offset, MySims Kingdom is the much better of the two, but to start with the first MySims, the art style and the gameplay is obviously very heavily inspired by Animal Crossing, although it is fundamentally quite different. Your goal is to restore a town to its former glory by moving in different Sims to the town and building houses for them, building up their businesses, creating their furniture for them. Once you've moved a character in and you've made their house, they will ask you to make different kinds of furniture for them. For example, the flower lady wants you to build some flower beds for her, and the DJ lady wants you to build a stereo for her, etc, etc. You have different blueprints to follow where you have to put the exact things in the slots, but you also have some creative freedom to put other things you want in them. But in order to paint the different blueprints of furniture that you get, you have to collect essences. Essences are basically objects or abstract things that you collect. For example, apples from a tree, and with an apple it grants you the paint essence to paint it red, like a red apple, or if you wanted to paint it green you have to get a green apple. You also unlock essences by socializing, so if you're nice to other Sims they might release a nice essence, which is like a yellow smiley face, which allows you to paint things yellow. You can go fishing and then you can paint things based on the colors of the fish, and then as you progress through doing these different tasks for different characters, building and painting the furniture, you unlock different objects such as an axe, which allows you to chop down a tree so that you can access the forest area and get more essences. For example, digging up cakes from the ground, as if that makes any sense, that cakes are buried underground. And that's fundamentally it. Other than a town rating which goes up to 5 stars, the gameplay loop is extremely simple. There's not much really to do other than build the houses and build the furniture for the people living in them, and obviously collecting the essences. So it's not like a proper video game with an end goal. This is referred to as a cozy bundle because it's one of those cozy games which you just kind of play casually, which is fine. And then we've got MySims Kingdom, which is essentially the exact same concept but a little bit better. Obviously it's got a medieval fantasy skin on it. This time round you build things with your magic wand, and you don't need essences necessarily to build or even paint things, but you do need mana points which you can collect through various activities. With MySims Kingdom there are different islands that you can visit and different characters, and they all have different kinds of quests for you to do. I would say it's slightly longer than the first game as well, and a bit more engaging just because there's a lot more to do and there's a lot more missions other than just creating objects. It's still a very simple concept, and I think they're both relatively good games, I want to say from the offset. MySims Kingdom is just a little bit better. In terms of the performance of the games, there was a huge issue playing both of them in docked mode on the Switch. The frame rate was just absolutely terrible all of the time, and it kept jittering. It wasn't very good. Once you play it in handheld mode, it's completely fine. The frame rate is really good, really consistent, really high. The picture looks really beautiful. It's just when you play it in dock mode, it's terrible. So it's the kind of game that you need to be playing in handheld mode only, in my opinion, in order to make it fun. I wouldn't say that the performance issues are that distracting, but when you play it in handheld mode, it just feels better. Another issue aside from the performance is the controls. The controls, okay, both of these games, I'm sorry, they're fucking terrible. Again, with dock mode, they're especially even worse. Trying to pan the camera around, trying to move around with the camera moving around with you, is too much. It made me feel dizzy. There's a mouse pointer on the screen, but you can only move it around using the right stick, meaning that you're like moving your character around with the left stick and moving the mouse around with the right stick, but sometimes you move the camera with the left or the right stick, but sometimes you move it with the L and R buttons. It's really inconsistent. It's really dumb. I really hate the controls. I think personally that they should have integrated a motion control system maybe for the cursor, because that just would have made it easier in my opinion. opinion. In handheld mode, it's a lot better because you can use the touchscreen instead of moving around the mouse cursor, which is obviously a lot easier, but you do often find yourself using the touchscreen and then moving your hand back to press the buttons and then moving your hand on the touchscreen again, and it's a little bit annoying. So yeah, the controls are pretty bad both ways, but in handheld mode, I think it's a lot better. In terms of bugs and glitches, honestly, I don't think it was that bad. I didn't really encounter anything. The only thing is sometimes the Sims, they like hop around on the screen a little bit when you get them to do an interaction, but it's not that bad, which is surprising for a Sims title, let alone an EA title, to not be that buggy, but it genuinely isn't. In general, MySims and MySims Kingdom are like a very stripped down, slightly different version of Animal Crossing, and it's definitely marketed towards kids. I mean, it was back in the day. It was supposed to be The Sims, but for kids. So it's not really challenging. There's no real stakes when playing. When you're building things, you can't make anything that intricate. There aren't really any decorative objects, for example, that you can place on furniture to make it look nicer. It's a very, very basic game, and I think that's perfect for what it is. I don't feel like they needed to go too far with it. It's the kind of thing that you would just play with before you go to sleep. Maybe you'll play with it in the bath, although that's a bit risky. You might drop your Switch in there. Maybe you're just playing it on like a Sunday morning or something with a coffee lying on the sofa. It's not a deep experience and it's not meant to be, and I think it works perfectly for what it is. I think it's fun. I wouldn't go out of my way to play it, absolutely not, but I would play it when I'm just chilling and doing absolutely nothing else. I think the game has a lot of charm. It's very cute, and despite being quite an old game, I actually think it works well in the modern video gaming era. It doesn't feel out of place like a lot of older ported games are. It doesn't feel clunky. It feels quite good. I don't think every video game in the world needs to have a lot of depth. Sometimes I think just a casual basic experience is fine. In the UK, you can get the game for about £30. I think the price is fair considering that you're getting 2 games in one. Granted, the games are quite short. It won't take you more than 20 hours to complete each of them. But considering it's a Switch game and an EA game and it's The Sims, all 3 of which are known to be quite cash grabby, I think the price is as good as you're going to get for what you're getting. As a middle-aged millennial man who doesn't really have the attention span for a lot of cozy games, being honest, I personally found it fun and engaging enough just to play, as I said before, for an hour before bed. I think my favorite thing about the games is probably the humor. It's actually quite quirky. It's actually quite funny. I quite enjoy being mean to other Sims. It's quite funny seeing their different reactions. Usually with these cozy kind of games, you're not allowed to be mean, but because it's The Sims, they've obviously put it in there and you can make them fight and stuff. Even though there's no adult humor, I think you can interpret certain things in a way that maybe kids wouldn't understand, and it's quite funny. I also like the charm of the game. I like the art style. I think it's very clean. I think the gameplay loop is fine. It just feels really like vanilla, and I think that's why I like it. It's very beige. It's very back to basics. It's very simple. With that being said though, I think it paves the way for the future of MySims. They haven't released a brand new MySims game now for over 10 years. If they released MySims 2, but maybe they added some more features and revolutionized it in like many different ways. There are just so many things I can think of off the top of my head that they can do with a sequel to this. I think re-releasing the original game is a really great step forward to that, and it actually makes me excited for the future of MySims to see where it goes. Maxis genuinely have not done a spin-off Sims game for years now. Technically they've done the Sims Mobile, that doesn't count. We've just had the Sims 4, so to actually see something new is really cool, and I actually really like it. I don't really have anything negative to say other than about the diabolical controls. You will get used to the controls eventually, but you never truly really get used to them because they'll always piss you off. If you care about numbers, I would give the MySims Cosy Bundle a 7 out of 10. I think it's a good game with time well spent, and I don't think you would regret buying it or playing it if you're into those kinds of games. If you're a simmer and you just love The Sims 4, then it's probably not for you because it's not that detailed. tryhard, but if you're into the whole like Minecraft, Stardew Valley, like these kinds of games, the chilled games, I think you will enjoy MySims. It has a couple of bumps and it is quite repetitive, but I felt rather satisfied with my gameplay experience, and I probably will continue to play it maybe an hour before bed or something. Now all I need is a remake of The Herbs, and then I will be totally satisfied. Thank you very much for watching today's video. I will see you in the next one.